What is up, Team JVS? We are back with another review. We are here with Dead City Season 2, Episode 3. I almost forgot what episode we were on, so I kind of paused a little bit. But of course, hello, welcome. I'm Busy Braun. Nice to have you back as always. Oh man, we've talked a lot about these episodes. We've broken them down. We've done we did the same thing for Daryl Dixon. I'm a fan of what we've gotten, and I will say that I think that this episode was really strong. I don't know. I enjoyed the last episode, but I'm gonna leave it up to you guys on what you think was better, whether it was episode one, two, or three. There was just something about this episode that I really enjoyed. A lot of kind of like slow points, but at the end of the day, I was really excited with the introductions to one of my favorite things was one of the new groups, and it's one thing that I was really excited about when it came to exploring New York City. New York City is a very, very, very big place. So the amount of communities and just how diverse it still is one of the big things that I was really looking forward to diving into. And I think they did a really good job with that. But for starters, of course, hello, welcome. I'm Busy Braun. Welcome to the channel. We do reactions on my channel. If you guys want to go check that out, I encourage you to. Um, but of course, we're dropping a bunch of reviews over here for not only Dead City, but a lot of other shows. So if there is a show that you're not into, I'm sure you will find one that you are into. So make sure you're checking out the content, subscribe, help us out. And yeah, but diving into it, we kind of start off again right where we kind of left off with the group New Babylon kind of finding kind of shelter still. And of course, we pick up in Central Park, which is where we left off. And we know Central Park is, I guess, known to be no man's land, is how they kind of explained it. We know it's extremely dangerous, and kind of we see that right when we kind of start off the episode. And it wasn't necessarily like a crap ton of walkers. Like I expected a lot more walkers, if I'm being completely honest, but they did it by just killing off one of the soldiers just immediately, and just seeing how that kind of played out. And on top of that, Herschel being the one to take out the walker that killed the woman. There's just a lot of moments in this that I was just kind of caught off guard, but I will say that the introduction to that new group was pretty interesting because as soon as we see the group walk away, we see Herschel walk away, and then we see one of the I don't even know what to call these people. The nature folk is what we'll call them. We see one of the nature folks in the background, just kind of lurking and observing, and it kind of caught me off guard because I'm just like, what are we doing? And I thought it was a pretty cool way to do that because one thing that I always love about this show is sometimes they throw in like little horror aspects and the little jump scares, And I don't necessarily get scared by this show, but there are certain moments, certain episodes that do stand out, and that little moment kind of gave me same vibes of I'm not gonna like compare it to it too much, but I forget what it was like in The Walking Dead when we have that episode with the house and all the weirdos in that house. They weren't walkers, but they were just freaks. It was just like the way that things would turn, and you would just see that person just in the back. You know what I'm saying? It was the same vibe of not noticing them until the camera kind of focused, and I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was interesting. But again, she ended up coming in clutch later on, but also introduced us to her entire group, which again, it's always interesting to see how these groups play out. Some of them are violent, some of them aren't violent, but then some of them are just doing things so differently than how we did things in the modern world, and how things were. And I only say that because as we saw when they were in like the tall grass, we saw everyone kind of scatter. We saw Herschel almost get bit, but we saw him get pulled away by one of the nature folks. And I'm over here thinking that this is going to be really interesting for him to see someone else and talk to someone else who's kind of who's his age, or around that age. And Ginny and him have been a cool little dynamic, but obviously there's a lot of like tension, like just what is it called? There's kind of like beef there if you feel what I'm saying, because obviously Ginny got some stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on, and she doesn't have that parental figure, and then Maggie kind of steps up, but then Herschel kind of marks his territory in a sense where he's like, hey yo, like why don't you go do that? I'm gonna help my mom. Where we have that moment in episode one where he like quite literally shoot her away, and she's just constantly getting these moments where she's just kind of we're seeing her focus on Herschel and Maggie have moments, and she's just kind of there to watch, and it's sad to see because I did enjoy Ginny's character and I'm rooting for her, but it's just it's always depressing to see that. But yeah, of course we see that character pull him away, and it obviously led to them kind of meeting up again while he's trying to figure out where he is, the drawings, all that stuff. She's lurking, she finds the drawing, and of course she enjoys it. She liked the drawings. The one thing I will say is I was a little confused at one point because they mentioned that she was like, oh, how do you do that? Like, how do you do the drawing? I don't know if she just didn't know what drawing was as a whole, which is what I thought when I first started watching it, or she just didn't know how he was able to draw so well, you know. And I'm pretty sure it was how he was able to draw so well. I'm pretty sure she knew what drawing was, cause what they said it was later on in the episode was, oh, they've been with us. She's been with us specifically since her fourth grade trip, which she would have been like what 9 years old, and you obviously know what drawing is at that point. So I don't know if maybe I misunderstood what was going on there, or maybe they, I don't know, but obviously it led to just her being in that situation with Herschel, and I really enjoyed their little conversation and her kind of opening up and actually talking, even if it was like 3 words, and then it led to the of course the crazy man that we saw, and that's kind of going back to the conversation and the whole moment that we had with the Croat and Negan. The Croat is obviously like cautious of Negan. Negan, of course, is a very, very dangerous man. So it's like can't ever be too careful. But for him to be in that position where he's like, hey, like, why don't you go out? Why don't you, go find where the soldiers are? And they're even furthering how sick they are when they're over here making comments like, oh, I know you've always had a soft spot for kids, so I promise you, if it ever gets to that situation, we'll take care of the kids for you. It's like, bro, like that doesn't make things better. And of course, it ended up leading to the big guy and Negan, of course, going to Central Park, which we knew if they were going to be isolated together, Negan was going to find a way to take him out, and that's exactly what he did. But I was curious about that because it's like you can't make it too obvious without the Croat knowing what the hell Negan's trying to pull. And I don't think obviously the Croat's not stupid, so he knows exactly what's going on. And I'm curious to see how that plays out because the Croat's been an interesting character. Last season, he was kind of like the man in charge, and we saw everything. And then we kind of were introduced to the Dama, and we realized that he's not actually pulling all the strings. And as we saw in the last episode, this man even snitched on Negan. So he's kind of a bitch, you know. So it's like I'm excited to see how that kind of plays out. But realistically, going into this and seeing them kind of do their own thing. And then, of course, as soon as they kind of get into that tight squeezed area, I'm like, okay, this has got to be where it happens. And bro, I do not know. I don't know how that man did not die right away. That man was eaten, torn apart. We saw blood shooting everywhere, and then 5 minutes later, he's over here with Herschel, and I'm super confused. I thought he was a walker, but he was grabbing his weapon still, and then he swung the weapon, and I'm just like, dude, this is different. But of course, him stabbing the girl through her leg should not have been a death sentence, and that's kind of where we get brought back to what or how they handled things. But before I get there, I want to talk about the little confrontation, of course, with Negan and Herschel. And we all always know there's going to be something there, just like there is something with Negan and Maggie. And as we saw, the whole situation with the Dama and Herschel, with them having their whole conversations, those are really interesting. But we could tell that Dama is just a master manipulator. That's exactly what she's doing. But it's scary because it seems like it worked. And as we saw at the end of the episode, which I am curious to see how that's going to play out, especially when things do get crazy, if they become or get face to face. I don't know. It's going to be nuts. But she, of course, was very, I don't want to say patient with him, but she was, you know, handling him better than most other people have in the past. And her, of course, leaving the door open, which obviously was planned. Them having the walkers there, her saving him from the walkers to maybe even earn trust a little bit, then leading to her having a whole bedroom made for this man, which was in an elevator, which brought him to the top floor so we could see the view in which so we could draw. I mean, this she was giving him so much, and in this world, everything she gave him is just that's. I mean, we might not understand how valuable that is, but she's not playing. Wants him in. She wants him in her pocket. Like she wants that control, and it's kind of scary. Um, but yeah, I mean, Negan going face to face with Herschel. Interested to see how that was going to play out, and then we see this man just straight up start shooting, which of course he missed. But I mean, that was I was kind of shocked by that because we knew Ginny had the gun, but the fact that Herschel had it in his hands and ended up actually firing kind of threw me off. But Then of course we find our way back to the nature folk, and that's when they, like, oh no, we're gonna handle things our way. We even have, the colonel offer, what is it called? Some, like the med kit, the med pack, whatever, and they turned it down. They're like, oh, we're gonna do things the way that we're gonna do things. And some of the dialogue in this episode, I will say, was really well written. There was a part with the Dama, like just different pieces. Like I can't even pick out one specific one. There's one that I know that really spoke to me, but I can't like pick it up at all right now. But a lot of different moments when she's talking to Herschel directly, and she's like talking about how the old world was and how like things are different now, and we can forget who we were and we can start fresh, and it was just interesting to see the way that they kind of had that playing out. But I think the most interesting piece of dialogue for me was when the nature folk was explaining who they were and how they're happy where they are, and the colonel's like, oh, we can do this for you, we can do this for you, we can clear the dead for you, and she's like, no, the dead is what's protecting us from the real threat, which unfortunately is the people. She's like, the dead has been protecting us. The dead are our family, our kids, our neighbors, them, you, me. It's just like the way that they kind of wrote that, and that piece of dialogue was just, it was really interesting, a really interesting perspective. And we've seen different groups kind of look at the uh, uh, the dead as like a solution, or maybe as guardians, but it was just the way that scene was written was really well done. I really liked it. I mean, although I don't agree with these people's motives, and not motives, but how they kind of handle things, because obviously they didn't believe in the medicine. They were gonna let nature take its course, and as we see with that girl, who again, stabbed through the leg. I don't think she needed to die. Throughout the episode, we keep seeing these walkers with the holes in their chest, and I was trying to piece that out, and then it obviously ended up with them being the problem, them taking the rock and straight up like carving out the heart. I mean, I feel like it's gross to even say that out loud. I feel like I'm about to get demonetized for saying that, but realistically, that's exactly what happened. And although they weren't violent to us, that's still a really sick thing, like, and obviously they have their own things, and at this point, like, this is their culture, the culture they kind of created throughout, the apocalypse being a thing. So I mean, it's crazy, and the fact that they were giving us shelter, it's not like we can come kind of go out there and fight. But um even though we had certain characters like Lucio who was stepping up and trying to, oh, like, now's our time, like we could take advantage of this, and he's like, bro, like, they're taking care of one of their wounded, like, now's not the time. New Babylon, I understand what they're trying to go for, but realistically, they are like just like any other group that we've kind of come across. They just are high up on their pedestal. They're not like merciless killers, but realistically, they're like, oh, if you don't do what we say, then that's when we kill you. Like, that's where the kind of the line is, and it's just, so at some points they're like, they're sick, man, and it's, to see that over and over again is just kind of getting a little frustrating. And I'm just like, okay, when is this gonna fall? And like I said, um, what is it? Dasha Polanco has been an actress that I enjoy. So it sucks that like I just despise her character so much. I'm like, dude, like her character is kind of a dick. Or no, she is a dick, but I mean that's again great on Dasha Polanco because she's absolutely killing, like doing her job. So I'm enjoying that. I'm interested to see where that goes, but knowing that it's most likely going to end with her not being here kind of sucks because I would have loved to see her kind of be here for years to come. Because I'm sure we're getting another season. Of course, we got Daryl Dixon continuing. Like, The Walking Dead has been great. We get a lot of cool characters, a lot of cool actors join the franchise, but there's not many that I'm just like, oh, I want to see more. I want to see more. So I'm usually just letting it run its course and see how it plays out. But she's definitely someone I would love to see kind of in seasons to come. But yeah, I mean, we covered a lot over here so far. I think that's a lot of what I wanted to get off my chest. Again, a fun episode, really interesting to see how they handle a lot of stuff. But again, it's been nuts, and I think it's only gonna get crazier from this point on. The one thing, of course, I'm waiting for is the reunion between Negan and Maggie, which is gonna be great. But for now, big thank you to all of you guys. You guys have been great. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're staying safe. And again, make sure you're checking out TeamJVS. We got a lot of other reviews dropping, and of course, if you're interested in watching reactions, we did the entirety of season 1, and we're of course doing season 2 for Dead City on my channel, Busy Braun. Make sure you're checking that out, and thank you so much. I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, peace out, everybody.